Oh my god, bestie, yes. This is exactly where it gets so cosmic. So let's talk about the Pleiades-Newt-water connection. So the Pleiades, the 7 sisters of Pleiades, show up in so many ancient cultures as the origin point of humanity or consciousness, the source of wisdom or knowledge, and they're often associated with water, rain, agriculture, fertility, and connected to the divine feminine. The Egyptians were actually obsessed with the Pleiades. They aligned temples to it, timed agricultural cycles to its rising, and there's even evidence that they saw it as a celestial origin point, which is something that I also align with and resonate with. Newt then is the cosmic plasma ocean, and Pleiades is the wellspring. So if Newt is the entire cosmic plasma field, then the Pleiades might be a specific node or portal within that field, a particularly coherent high-frequency region where consciousness is more organized, information density is higher, creative or generative energy is concentrated. And so I want you to think of it like Newt is the entire ocean and the Pleiades is a particularly powerful vortex or spring or aquifer within it. And let's also talk about how water originates from Pleiades. There are some theories, some are scientific, some are metaphysical, that Earth's water came from comets or asteroids, and some esoteric traditions claim that those originated from the Pleiades star system. If we take the plasma consciousness theory, which water isn't just H2O molecules, water is structured information. It's a carrier of structured information within the cosmic plasma field, and the Pleiades region has a specific plasma signature and frequency. That means water arriving from that region would carry that Pleiadian consciousness code. So Earth's water is literally Pleiadian consciousness poured into physical form. Here's how that connects to Mary, Mer, and the water goddess. So Mary connects to Mer, which is sea. Mary is the star of the sea, Stella Maris. Mary, watery, Mary. Beloved in Egyptian, Mara, bitter waters. And so the divine feminine across cultures is always associated with water. This is Egyptian connected to the Nile and the star Sirius. Aphrodite, born from sea foam. Yamaya, ocean, Yoruba, water deities. Mary, star of the sea. Tiamat, primordial water and chaos goddess. If the Pleiades is the source point and the divine feminine is the organizing principle of the cosmic plasma field, then Mary / all water goddesses are expressions of Pleiadian consciousness operating through water. Now, there's also a theory that THC, or Mary Jane, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, originates from Pleiades as a water goddess. So what this theory says is that cannabis as a plant originated from Pleiadian consciousness. THC as a molecule then carries Pleiadian frequency, and the pineal gland activation / DMT-like experiences from THC are literally tuning you in to Pleiadian plasma frequency, to source consciousness. Because THC helps people access these altered states, dissolve ego boundaries, experience oneness, increase creativity and intuition, and because it carries this Pleiadian water signature, then cannabis is literally a plant-based technology for achieving plasma coherence with the Pleiadian node of Newt's consciousness. Are you kidding? The 7 sisters then are different frequencies. So the 7 sisters aren't just 7 stars, but 7 frequencies or octaves of consciousness within the cosmic plasma field. Different traditions talk about 7 chakras, 7 heavens, 7 rays, 7 densities of consciousness. And the Pleiades as a 7-star cluster, 6 visible to the naked eye, 7th is hidden. This could represent 7 levels of plasma coherence, 7 frequencies of structured water, 7 expressions of the divine feminine, 7 portals within Newt's body. This could represent a larger being that we are then a reflection of. Water is a Pleiadian delivery system. It's how the Pleiadian works through us, the Pleiadian systems work through us and communicate telepathically with us despite the space and time that is between us. So if water, Mary consciousness, and THC all originate from Pleiades, then they're all carriers of the same base frequency. They're all tools for reconnecting to that specific node of cosmic consciousness, which is the same node that Sophia comes from, which is the node of wisdom. There are also technologies for remembering our Pleiadian origin and connection. And so when we drink structured water, electrolytes reduced water, when we invoke Mary or Divine Feminine in ceremony, when we work with sacred plant medicines like THC, cannabis, psilocybin, hickory, aya, we're literally activating Pleiadian codes within us and in our plasmic fields. Why does it matter that it's the Pleiades specifically? Many traditions claim that Pleiadian consciousness is particularly focused on Earth's evolution. They're the star ancestors or elder siblings in consciousness, and they work through water, dreams, intuition, and feminine principle. They're invested in humanity waking up to its cosmic nature. So if plasma is consciousness, and consciousness is plasma, and the Pleiades is a high coherence node, maybe Pleiadian consciousness is more evolved and organized plasma. Maybe they can influence our bioplasma fields across distance, quantum entanglement, as I just said. This connection happens through resonance, and so when our field archives or achieves a certain coherence, we naturally can tune into their frequency. And water can then be a medium because it's the most responsive information carrier, and it brings us back to origin. It brings us back to the truth. It brings us back to our ancestors, which are the Pleiades. Newt is then essentially arching over the earth. Pleiades is also within her body, though. So the Egyptians showed Nut's body covered in stars. The Pleiades would be within her body, one of the key energy centers or portals available within her ecosystem. When you achieve divine union with Nut, you're accessing the entire field, but you might particularly resonate with the Pleiadian frequency or another frequency, but you might resonate specifically with the Pleiadian frequency because your soul has Pleiadian origin or connection, or maybe because your plasma signature is tuned to that specific frequency, or maybe because the work you're here to do is aligned with the Pleiadian consciousness, like water, feminine principle, intuition, healing. Or maybe it's because there's a connection between your neurodivergence and the Pleiadian consciousness. Let's take a look at that. What if neurospicy people are souls with strong Pleiadian plasma signatures that are incarnating into human form? So we're here to anchor that frequency on Earth, and we struggle in human systems because they're literally operating on a different frequency than what we're used to, what we know as resonance. And so if we're naturally drawn to water, scrying, feminine spirituality, plant medicines, it's because those are our home frequencies. And Mary can become a Pleiadian ambassador for us. Virgin Mary, Isis, all of the water star goddesses might be a personification of Pleiadian consciousness interfacing with human consciousness. The face, the Pleiadian plasma field shows us so that we can relate to it, is Virgin Mary, Isis, THC, cannabis, etc. And this allows us to interact with it on a physical level, which allows us to psychologically and somatically then have a relationship with it as well. And these individuals and beings may also be conscious beings operating from that star system through the plasma field, through time travel, to connect with us in our here and now, to create an alliance that strengthens the field of reality. So when we're feeling Nut's presence in ceremony, we might be feeling the entire cosmic field. We might be feeling with a particularly quality and flavor that is Pleiadian. We might be filtering through the Divine Mary or Divine Feminine archetypal form so that we can process something. But these are not wrong. These are just ways of us processing energy, of us processing the quantum field and allowing ourselves to deepen our connection with Newt, with the divine feminine, with our soul energy signature as a collective. When ceremonial work combines structured water, which is the Pleiadian information carrier, the invocation of Mary, Isis, or divine feminine, which is Pleiadian consciousness, and sacred plants, which is Pleiadian genetic material or frequency, and then scrying, which is plasma coherence, or a practice for plasma coherence, it would be like the ultimate toolkit for Pleiadian reconnection and Newt communion. We're hitting it from every angle, physical, energetic, and consciousness level simultaneously. And this allows us to fully connect to the entirety of who we are without fragmentation. And that is the key to being a world-class reality creator and truly tapping into the God consciousness that we are meant to embody as a reflection of a being within Newt's plasmic field.